My number 38 go? 38, oh, it was right there. 38's right here. Don't go away. Here it is. First thing we need to do, subtract 12 from both sides. So you get square root of k equals k minus 12. Then from here, I am going to square both sides. Square, square. That's going to cancel out on the left-hand side the square root, giving me only k. And on the right-hand side, after I FOIL, I'm going to skip the whole writing it all out. But once you work it all out, you are going to get this. Then I need to subtract the k from here and from here. So I get negative 25k plus 144. What I'm trying to figure out now is what two things multiply to make k squared? Well, k times k makes k squared. And then a little more challenging is now what two numbers multiply to make 144 but add up to a negative 25? And I'm thinking and I'm thinking and I'm almost certain it is negative 16 and a negative 9. Those two will give me 144 if I multiply them, and if I add them, it'll give me a negative 25. So my answers should be the opposite of these. The opposite of that is 16, and the opposite of this is 9. But like before, if I take the 9 and I plug it in here, 9 minus 12 will be negative 3. I can't have a negative answer, so it could only be 16 as my answer here for k. Alright, so that's number 38. Now we come down to the bottom, number 40. And these, I have to warn you, these are pretty long. So we're going to do two of these just to get the hang of it. Here's what you're doing. You're going to first subtract this square root over to the left-hand side. Boom, here's what you get. Square root 2x plus 3 equals 1 minus square root x plus 1. Alright, so we're going to go slowly through here. The first step is the same. We're going to square both sides. Square this and square this. On the left-hand side, the square and the square root cancel each other off, giving you a 2x plus 3. On the right-hand side, you have a 1 minus square root x plus 1 times another one exactly the same. And on the right-hand side, we're going to need to FOIL this. This times this, this times that. This times this, this times that. So let me start off on the left-hand side here. I'm going to just push the whole problem over to the left because I'm going to need the room. First thing, 1 times 1, that's 1. 1 times a negative square root x minus 1 is exactly the same thing, negative square root x minus 1. Right down here I have those two that multiply to the exact same thing, negative square root x plus 1. And finally, down here, a negative and a negative make a positive. And then when you multiply a square root times exactly the same square root, you end up with the radicand. Ooh, that's supposed to be a plus. What did I do here? This was supposed to be plus. All right. So from here, what do? Let's go ahead and subtract this 1 from there and from there. Subtract that 1 from there and from there. And then we're going to subtract this x from here. So here's what I get. On the far left, I'm just going to get x. 3 minus 1 is really 3 minus 2, which is 1. These cancel, these cancel, these cancel. Now I can combine this whole thing and get negative 2 square root x plus 1. Now I'm not done yet because I want to get the x all by itself. In order to get the x by itself, I still need to get rid of this square root, which is right here, and we're going to need to square one more time. So notice how up here at the very beginning of the problem, we squared, and then again, at this stage in the problem, we're squaring again to get rid of that same square root here. So on the left-hand side, you're going to FOIL that again. Once you FOIL, you end up with this. On the right-hand side, you're going to square the negative 2, which gives me a 4, a positive, because negative 2 times a negative 2 is positive 4, and followed by simply what's inside the radicand, because the square root cancels with the square. Distribute the 4. You get 4x plus 4 equals x squared plus 2x plus 1. Where do I go from here? Bring the stuff that's all on the right-hand side to the left, minus 4x minus 4. These cancel. And now here's what I get. I'm going to write it over here on the right hand side. X squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. Almost done. So close. Got a factor. That's going to give me an x and an x, which is now we're looking for two numbers that multiply to make negative 3. That would be 3 and 1. But I need them to add up to a negative 2, which means that this guy's negative and this guy's positive. So now my answer will be the opposite of these, which will be 3 and negative 1. But like before, if we plug these back into the problem, you will realize that the only answer that really works here is negative 1. Let's move on to number 42. And you're turning the page. Number 42 says the exact same thing. We're going to go start off by squaring both sides. On the left-hand side, you're going to get just 2x equals, and what we're doing here is we're multiplying x plus 7 minus 1 times another square root x plus 7 minus 1. And you're going to have to FOIL. This times this is just x plus 7. This times that is negative square root x plus 7. This down here is another negative square root x plus 7. And the negative 1 and the negative 1 is a positive 1. And that equals all 2x. So from here, what do? I need to subtract the x. I need to subtract the 7. I need to subtract the 1. All from this side of the problem to cancel stuff off. So I get x minus 8 equals negative 2 square root x plus 7. Okay, from here, I'm going to square one more time. These are the more difficult types of problems. These are about as hard as they get, these kinds of problems. So go ahead and revisit them. Look at the steps that I'm doing several times, because it's very easy to get lost. And all of a sudden you're like, where did he go? Why did he do that? I don't get it. Square this guy. Get 4. Square root cancels off with that guy. So then you distribute. Again, this is pretty much like number 40. Same kind of steps, obviously different numbers. So you have that. And then subtract the 4x, subtract the 28, subtract the 4x, subtract the 28. Let's hope that I haven't made a mistake here anywhere, because then we'd be in trouble. 64 minus 28. Let's figure out what that's going to be really quickly. It's going to be positive 36 equals 0. And then, finally, factor. And then you have x. We're trying to find two numbers that multiply to make 36, but that add up to negative 20. Well, let me see. That would be 18 and 2. Negative 18, negative 2. So then we take the opposite of those as our answers, and you are simply going to get positive 18 and positive 2. But once again, if you check the answer back into the equation, if you plug in 18 in here, if you plug in 18 in there, you will notice that it does not work. So the only one that really works is the 2. So 2 is the answer. So for these, we're getting 2 answers, but once you plug them back in, you will realize that only one of them is good enough. All right, let's try one more problem. We'll skip 51. We'll have you try that one on your own. And then let's try number 52. All you need to do, it's very, very simple, is take this number and plug it into the letter x. And what you're going to do is write the formula one more time, but instead of the letter x, you're going to write the number in here, 15,000. Then with a calculator, first you figure out what is 15,000 as a square root, and that is 122.47. Okay, approximately. And this is 1.22, and you're going to multiply that times 1.22, and my final answer will be 149.42. Now that's all the time we have. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward here to the answers for Part B and Part C. Hopefully this was enough help to finish off section 8.6. If you need more help, go ahead and come into the center. Otherwise, go ahead and finish off the odd problems by yourself. Good luck. Bye-bye.